you're going to flip over. At speed, it doesn't feel like that. At speed, everything's...
Oh, and around we've got cars on the track. Already involved is Kyle Busch. The 16 of Greg Biffle's involved. Looks like Denny Hamlin in the 11. And this is exactly what you didn't want to see as a crew chief.
Practice it.
It's just a classic case. You see that the 18 and the 2 are running nose to tail. The 18 moved up, the 2 got down. The 18 kind of came across his front bumper, and once he spins, everyone's in a pack. There's 25 cars in a pack. There's nowhere for the 9, for the 11, for the 16, anywhere for those guys to go.
Cars got collected in this. Martin Truex Jr. in the 78 up against the wall.
Jeff Gordon with a good move.
24 of Gordon stayed right down by the double yellow line, was able to avoid it.
Sam Hornish, he comes in here. He's, nothing he can do. I mean, there's nothing he could have done different right there.
Yeah, the 18 came down the track. Sam Hornish collects him. Jamie McMurray in the 1 also involved. Martin Truex Jr. landed the wall pretty hard before he got into the 18 as well. But it started with the 18 and the 2. The 2 just behind that 18.
And that's the tough part. You're running in
the single file line. He's got Brendan Gaughan just in front of him. Moving that second line. Blake Cook, and around goes the 85. So Bobby Gerhart spins, brings the caution out. Gerhart coming into the tri-oval area and the grass. But trying to have success in the Xfinity Series as well. You see him behind the pack getting sideways.
It almost seemed like a one-car incident. It's hard to really understand exactly what happened there.
I was coming out of turn number 4. Take another look. There is Bobby Gerhart.
It is not a single-car incident. There's the car behind him obviously got in the left for the quarter panel and got him spun around. Nice job of locking it down. Just kept the wheel straight, locked it down. That's the best thing to do. Sometimes you try too hard, you get yourself wrecked worse. He did a really good job of just accepting the situation, getting all 4 wheels locked, just getting the car slowed down.
And Kyle Busch mentioned the fact that he'd love there to be no
too far to the left, driving himself below the double yellow line. Perhaps NASCAR thought he had room. Maybe it was in the caution of error. I know NASCAR has told us multiple times they don't want to penalize someone. They have to enforce a rule.
Oh, around goes the 14 again. Cale Conley this time. He spins, he's on the apron, and that will bring out our second caution.
Don't tear the fenders off of the caution's out. You're all right.
Cale Conley running in the 29th position. He got into the grass as well. On their wheels. Take another look. Looks like he might have had some help.
When we talk about the grass, you see a perfect example of how the grass there on the entrance to turn 3, kind of the car started bouncing, the splitter got down into it. You see here he gets kind of spit out of the pack. Luckily the splitter stays on it. Right there where it digs in, there's an opportunity to really do some damage to the front of that car.
And one advantage he had also, when he did start spinning, there was very little asphalt that he was on. So that's why the tires go flat, as you wear through the tire. But when you're in the grass, you're really not doing any damage to the tires. In order to prevent that, you're going to have to be hitting the brakes. But now you got a guy behind you that's hitting you. If that's going on in the middle of the corner, a lot of times...
Oh, into the wall. We've got another one. The sparks are flying. And the caution comes out once again. 70, Derek Cope. Derek got into this on the double yellow line. Take another look at what happened.
He just turned right to try to go on the outside line, and there was a 33 car, and he didn't know he was there. Just turned right, turned himself into the wall.
It's right along.
Yeah, if you look here, right here, you see Jeremy Clements on the racetrack. Landon Castle's already committing to pit road. As you see this roll forward, Landon Castle's committed to pit road. He's down by the cone. Jeremy Clements at the last moment decides to take a hard right. Unfortunately, Landon Castle has decided to go back on the racetrack. They make heavy contact. You'll see here the 51 of Jeremy Clements. He needs to pit. The 01 of Landon Castle deciding to make a strategy move, stay out. Miscommunication between the drivers and the spotters end up with heavy.
Most recently, we pitted at lap 56. Just 21 to go, and around goes the 14. Cale Conley got into the wall. And that brings the caution out once again. Second time for Cale Conley to bring out the caution.
Thank you.
Difficult to know what happened there. Obviously, he was you know, only car in the shot. Don't know if he had a tire proper. Logano was able to get by Reed. Now he's the first car on the outside. Let's see if that car can push him to the front.
At the stripe. 10 laps of racing to go. And around goes the pack in the middle. Darrell Wallace Jr. gets caught up. The big one happens just as they go through the tri-oval. Back up into the wall hard, Brendan Poole. Eric Almirola caught up in this in the 98. The caution comes out.
Point it here, guys.
So Brendan Gaughan in the middle there. Ryan Reed gets hit by the 3 car, pushes him into Brendan Gaughan, and then it's on from there.
Daniel Suarez caught up in this as well. Regan Smith.
Look at the job right there. Casey Kane in the 88 gets on the brakes. The crash happens, gets off the brakes, back on the gas to drive out of it. That's bump drafting. That's what happens. The 3 gets into the back of the car in front of him, turns him, and then with 2 and 3 wide, there's just no. So you see right here, the 3 is pushing the 16, trying to help him. He doesn't want to spin this car out. He's trying to help him, push him towards the front. He gets a little to the right rear, causing the 16 to turn left. It hits the 62, which picks up the 6. And then as they come back up the racetrack, there's nowhere for these guys to go. You see the damage, the cars all over the racetrack has forced NASCAR to put the red flag out, stop the field here on the front stretch while they do cleanup. You see the 6 spins to the inside. The 60 has nowhere to go. Really, and look, as the 52 and the 6 spin to the left, this is that new pavement area down into turn 1 that Daytona has added for this race right here. And then the 42, this is still a big, heavy impact. He comes back across the track, up the banking, and you see that soft wall, the give of that soft wall. That is a heavy impact, but I assure you the impact is deadened some by the side. Still a wall, but the soft wall definitely absorbs some of that impact.
At speed.
Brendan was trying to drive it.
This is what Brendan Poole saw.
10 to go here.
You know, he's behind the crash a little bit here, and he's running on the bottom. He sees the smoke, he lifts, he gets back in the gas, gets to the bottom, and he just gets clipped in the right rear. That's a hard hit. That is a hard hit. You hear him, you know you instantly want to lift and get out of the gas.
Heard his spotter right away, so you're all right.
That's right, but Brendan was driving it the whole way. You know, he's still thinking he can control that race car.
Help from Joey Logano behind him.
Brian Scott's in his mirror just looking. He's going to have to go right, go left. Whatever lines build momentum, he's got to slow it down by trying to get in front of him.
And now up against the wall. He gets into the wall. Brian Scott trying to block into the wall, and he goes. The caution comes out again. Brian Scott doing what you said, trying to slow the momentum down, did it too late. Got back stretch.
You see Brian Scott on the bottom, Elliott Sadler on the outside. Elliott's getting a big push. Brian tries to go in front and block, and Elliott's already there. He did what he needed to do. He just did it too late. The move was made too late to try to put the block on. Once they get that far up, you just got to hold your spot and take your punishment.
Once again, Casey Kane.
Casey Kane has worked his way through the accident, but you're absolutely right, Jeff. You know, it seems like the key around this place is run the bottom through the corners and the top down the straightaways when you're the leader and you want to block both lanes. But if you're going to run the top or block the top, you have to do it right away. You can't be that late. It's very hard for the spotter to see. You see here, there's a big run coming, and the move, it's just, there's nothing he can do. Elliott Sadler is clearly there all the way up to his quarter panel. And when he turns in front of the field, you can see all the debris fly.
And Elliott saw that coming, but you can't lift. You got to racing. Do you have to block like that? This is a product of this racing. Now, Brian Scott, this is his responsibility. We know that's how this racing is. We know you have to block if you're going to try to win, but you got to do it at the right time. He just made a mistake. It was an aggressive move in an effort to win the race. Obviously, his mistake. Had he pulled it off and done it a little bit earlier, he did the right thing. He just didn't move quick enough.
So many cars involved. I mean, once they start spinning, there's nowhere to go. You try to get on the brakes, you try to get on the gas. Casey Kane, he somehow avoids another one, Rick.
Austin Dillon, Casey Kane, both come through unscathed.
You see here, Casey Kane is in the middle again As they start to wreck in front of him, you see the smoke. He gets a little bit into the 0 car, gets on the brakes, but then right on the gas again. That's 2 major wrecks that he's somehow worked his way through the middle of. This
line staying in front of the 9 of Chase Elliott. Elliott with a final run, trying to get by as they come into the tri-oval. And around goes the 18 of Suarez behind him. Austin Dillon will hold on. He's winning Daytona.
Yeah, absolutely.
We see it done correctly there. If it's done incorrectly, there'll be a wreck.
And around they go. The 38 goes sideways. David Gilliland sideways as they come out of turn number 4. Also involved, the 22 of Logano. The 32. Multiple cars.
You see right here, the 38's coming down to change lanes. There isn't room. He comes across the front bumper of the 15, spins him to the bottom, and the field very tight. You see farther back into the field, the 16 and the 10 get into the back, and the 22 spinners up across the track. And that's what happens in these tight packs. When there's a spin way up in front of the pack, everyone gets out of the gas, and it's so hard when you're only a couple feet apart. Another hard impact there with the 32 and the 38. When you're that close, you don't have enough room. If you don't slow down the exact same rate, someone gets spun out.
And you see right here, David, he's one to be on the bottom of the racetrack. He wants to get behind the 88 because he thinks that's the best line, but he just doesn't have it synced up. He did not get a good view of the 15, turned down on the 15s. Nothing Clint Boyer could do right there. All he could do is get into him, and then everything behind him was just as a result of trying to miss this wreck. Every right with Tony Stewart. Coming off turn 4, he sees the smoke, slow it down.
Come all the way down if you want to. Slow down right there. Slow down, come on.
Always want to run by yourself. How are you ever going to learn how your car will react right here when it's
Kyle Busch into the wall, Marty. Kyle Busch gets into the wall. We just mentioned how he potentially would have to be cautious. He can't. He's going to start losing laps now.
You see him get on the outside of McMurray. He just gets loose. Just got in the corner, got loose, and bounced it up against the wall. Nobody got into him. But you know what? That's not uncommon here. Right and get into turn 1, you lose a lot of grip. You can see the back end get around on him. He has to chase it. There's nowhere to go. The only thing he can... You can see him, he just got loose all by himself, and now he's got it locked down. He's on all that asphalt. You know, we talked about getting grass out of racetracks. That's why right there he was able to keep control. He did make a little bit of contact. You can see the rear quarter panel bent, but not nearly as bad as it would have been with the grass down there.
Starts to drive the car. This onboard is going to have a great shot of it. You're going to see here and listen.
3 wide right here. Now just easy.
He does a great job. You hear him right before he spins. He starts to breathe it. He knows he's in trouble. And then as he starts to lose it, he gets out of it. He gets it locked up.
But you could see when he got behind the 20 and the 78, he had 2 cars in front of him. That took all the air off his car, and when it did, around that thing went. That's a sign for me that these cars are not handling great.
And you see here, it's a great opportunity to see some of the safety initiatives in this car. When that 19 gets sideways, you see the distance between the car and the asphalt. It starts to lift. As that car lifts, the roof flap opens, the hood flap opens, the car settles back down.
As he mentioned, he thought he cut the right rear tire. There's the 38 going around through turn 4. And behind him, who's that checking up?
Kyle Busch.
Out of the possibility of danger. Take a look at what happens. The 42 of Kyle Larson completely sideways.
He gets down to the apron. You see the sparks where the track bar mount hits the ground. He saves it, but he comes up the track, has no choice but to connect with the 19, who then starts to spin. Brad Keselowski gets a face full of sparks. The 17 does go around, and now the track is blocked. Now these guys are trying to find a hole through, and the 2 gets woed up, and the 3 kind of gets woed up, but then you see Carl Evans goes back up the track, and here comes Brian Scott with a full head of steam, makes big contact with the back of the 19.
Yeah, Brian Scott looked like he was going to be able to get through this clean. He was accelerating to try to get by the cars, but then up came Carl Edwards from the bottom of the track.
There's nothing you can do in that situation. You know, he just was coming at such a high rate of speed. Really nothing Brian Scott could have done.
Let's ride along with Carl. This will be a wild ride, too.
You see Carl, he's watching. We're going around a lap car right here. See, Larson just gets loose. Car goes around, tries to shoot the middle, just didn't clear him.
So,
man, I got this a couple times, and then Brian Scott was real curious about the underside of the car, and I had no clue what happened. I was like, I'm going to flip over frontwards, but I guess nobody got hurt, and we'll just go race at Kentucky next week.
Wesley Sher.
Nice sprint. 18 already. We have a new leader out front of the field. You can follow Brent Cup as the big one's happening once again. Coming out of turn number 4. Into the wall. Kyle Larson. Multiple cars sideways. Martin Truex Jr., a lot of damage to the front end of his car. Eric Almirola also involved. Make his way into the garage as well. This is why.
we've seen this time and time again. The 20 tries to come down on the 5. I don't know if he actually makes contact with the 5 or just the air gets him loose. Man, and then it's just a mess, right? When you have trouble in front of that many cars, there's just nowhere to go. You see the 9 spinning, trying to avoid it. Once the smoke is that thick, there's just nowhere to go.
All these cars behind them right now, they're just trying to find somewhere to go, but there just never is. You just keep piling in. You're on the brakes. The guys behind you are running into you. You know, it's just a big. This is plate racing. This is what we talk about. This is what the drivers fear.
Right along with Tony Stewart.
Back in here, back it down. Come down low, come down low, come down low, all the way down, all the way down. Come on down, come on down, come on down. Stay right there, stay there, stay there, stay there, stay there. Watch out now.
Over in turn number 2, take a look and a listen.
Here, guys, coming inside you, then you're all good. No caution yet. Keep rolling. Caution is out. Keep rolling. All you got. The pack is just off.
And they're missing a lot. This is a great race.
Oh, and around goes the 55. David Reagan trying to keep hold of it, sliding through the grass. Right now it's a one-car incident. The caution has come out.
Fire it up, get it rolling.
Back on the backstretch. Just in front of 3 wide, and he goes sideways.
Yeah, it looks to me like maybe Kurt Busch was, trying to help. Comes up there, maybe gives him a little push. It's either the air or bumper to bumper. It's hard to see from the front, but definitely was right behind the. I already talked about how far away that is for the spotters. The 55 goes to the right. Landon Castle's already there in the 40. It catches him on the right rear quarter panel. It's really, really lucky there was just a one-car incident.
In the 5th position.
So Jeff Gordon
right behind him.
He cleared. Which line does he go to? Now Harvick's not quite clear. Harvick's on the outside of him. Now, boom, he didn't make a commitment.
Oh, and around goes the car behind him. That's the 6, or excuse me, the 9. A very close call there for Sam Hornish Jr. in the 9. The caution comes out. Now we're getting closer to the possibility of a green-white checker.
We've seen this.
Got together.
Yeah, we have. We've seen this time and time again. You see the splitter makes huge contact with the grass. The car starts to bounce. Luckily, it lands on all 4 and just continues to spin. But we've seen this. The 9 goes to make a move, looks for that inside line, wasn't clear of the 1, drives across his nose, ends up spinning through the grass.
Tore the splitter completely off when it grabbed the grass initially. And then once again, hit hard and up into the air. A wild ride for Sam Hornish Jr.
He's still driving it. Look at those hands. Still driving it.
Trying to stay in front of the pack. They work their way through 3 and 4. Into the trial they come. Dale Earnhardt Jr. to the bottom of the track. Jr. will win at Daytona. And the big one happens behind them.
Oh, my God.
Austin Dillon into the catch fence. All the crews getting out to that car to assist these drivers. Thumbs going up from all the crew members, and the crew, as you mentioned, it came to a stop right there.
You see the fence is pulled away, but the cabling, the horizontal cabling is still intact to try to keep the car, any large pieces of the...
There is the engine.
Incredible impact.
Line winning the race, but then the accident takes place behind him.
Yeah, the 11 gets kind of stuck in the middle there and comes across the Ford's bumper. As he does, he spins back in, gets the 3 airborne, and he just gets projected off the other cars right up into the fence.
He went from the bottom of the racetrack over 2 rows of cars and into that catch fence.
Here we go. You can see him on the bottom. Rex starts in front. He runs in the back of the 24. Gets up on the 11. Now he's on top of the 55. Now it's just along for the ride. Watch the car stop. Watch the car stop. It gets into those poles, and it goes from, I don't know what, 180, 190 miles an hour, I'm just guessing, to a complete stop. That is unbelievable.
And it looks like that's 3,500 pounds. That stock car is extremely heavy. You see here, after he's upside down, the 2 is spinning. Obviously, he's already lost control, makes more contact with the 3.
11 and the 4 to get together. Here we are at the start-finish line.
It just pushes the 3 up into the air enough that it rolls over the top of the car. And then that momentum just continues to move him into the catch fence. Take another look at this real time. Here's the end of the race once again.
Just an unbelievable impact. You know, we talk about how the soft walls and the impact there, but the
fans in the grandstands, but they're attending to them with minor injuries is what we're hearing.
That's wonderful news, because as you see, you know, the car stays mostly intact as far as the driver compartment is concerned, but there's a tremendous amount of pieces missing off that car. The entire front engine is missing.
Hang on, this will be a wild ride. That was Tony Stewart going underneath the 3. Kevin Harvick. What an incredible sight to see Austin Dillon walking away from that 3 car that is demolished.
Unbelievable impact, Austin Dillon. When you watch this replay, when he gets in the catch fence, the car comes to a complete stop. I've never seen a car stop that